Undertale is 10 years old today, and a year ago, I was stuck writing my Common App essay. The idea for this video basically spawned from that essay, where I wrote entirely about Undertale and its impact on my childhood, which probably confused the hell out of the admissions officers reading it. But the idea of making a tribute video to this game was on the back of my mind for an uncomfortable amount of time, so I started writing this script. I must have been a little ass kid when I first heard about Undertale, like 8 or 9 years old. The only games I could really call my favorite at the time were like Minecraft and Call of Duty. It was 2015. I was in like 3rd grade or something, so there really wasn't much for me to be doing in my endless spare time. On the topic of endless spare time, I also liked watching YouTube. I was a really big fan of Markiplier, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, the big three, and I remember coming back from school, it was a Friday, and I went on the family computer to see if Jack uploaded. And I remember seeing the thumbnail for Jacksepticeye's first Undertale video, and I immediately scrolled past it because I thought it looked stupid.
Dumb freaking games, dude. I'm sick of it. Why doesn't he play something good like Minecraft?
Days, followed by weeks, followed by months, followed by years. I refused to click on any of his Undertale videos. I folded after a day.
Top of the morning to you, ladies. My name is Jacksepticeye, and welcome back to Undertale. Ladies, my name is Jacksepticeye, and welcome to Undertale.
And when I watched that first video, I fell in love immediately. The music, the characters, the gameplay. The only RPG I knew about at this point was like Pokemon, dude. The bullet hell gameplay mixed with the turn-based combat was like discovering fire to me. I knew I needed to play this game myself someday. Knew that I needed to meet the mastermind behind this game. Knew that I needed to know everything ever about this game. What I didn't know was how badly it would influence my childhood and shape me into the socially inept loser I am today. My name is Invistican, but you can call me Toby, and you're watching. If you clicked on this video, you probably already know all this stuff. But I need to reach the 10-minute mark, so just let me talk for a bit, okay? Undertale falls under my own category of games known as JRPG-inspired RPGs, or JRPG IRPGs. But you could just be normal and call it an indie RPG. You play as a child in a striped shirt who falls into a hole on Mount Ebott. Ebot?
EFOC.
This hole just so happens to be an entire underground civilization populated entirely by monsters who had been trapped underground after losing a great war against humankind. The game's main gimmick is the ability to resolve almost every conflict without violence, rewarding you with a better ending if you befriended everyone. Of course, you didn't have to listen to the game's branding, and you could still kill whoever you wanted. You could even eliminate everybody in the underground for a darker ending that the game never forgets.
Jingle jingle, pay attention.
It's a pretty simple premise, yet at the time it was unique enough to grab the attention of a lot of people. Primarily content creators, who then spread the Undertale virus to their fans. While many people contributed to the creation of Undertale, the bulk of this game was basically made by 2 people, Timmy Chang and Toby. Toby had begun working on this game while he was studying environmental science at Northeastern, and also while he was composing music for Homestuck, which, let's not get into that. Timmy Chang had started working on the sprites and the other art for the game after Toby relentlessly begged her on Tumblr. They made the Undertale demo and a Kickstarter, raised $5,000 for the game. Sorry, did I say 5,000? I meant $50,000 for the game. Then, after one whole delay, which is surprising for a Kickstarter indie game, and Toby Fox graduating from college, the game was finally released on September 15th, 2015. Now, to be honest, at a first glance, I understand why many, including myself, were turned off by the game. It looks like shit, and I think that sorta adds to the charm. I mean, this game's inspired by the various JRPGs that Toby played in the 90s and early 2000s. Do you remember Earthbound having crazy graphics? This was back when games still had instruction manuals in the box. My point is, this game simply wouldn't have hit as hard if it was another AAA 4K ray tracing corporate BlackRock shareholder slop game with a forgettable story, characters, and gameplay. I mean, part of this game's success was its unique gameplay, lovable characters, and amazing story. Oh, and could we appreciate the fact that the game is completable in under 10 hours?
I'll be honest, like, I really can't play RPGs anymore because they're just very long and have all these different tropes about them. It's like, so I wanted to make a game that I could play nowadays, being really tired of RPGs, and I would still enjoy. Why don't I make it so the game is only 6 hours long so you don't have to spend your whole life playing it? That could be nice for people.
A lot of people give it shit for its graphics, and to be honest, those people probably wouldn't have liked the game anyway, so they can keep paying $60 a year to buy the next version of their dog-ass games. This game was driven by its simplicity. It's a homage to a simpler time of gaming, and I think that's part of why it became so popular. But this game didn't make me nostalgic for an older period of gaming. I was born in 2007. I couldn't have experienced that era of RPGs, so why did this game impact me so heavily? You knew this part was coming. The part where I cry into the mic, talk to you about childhood trauma, all that stuff. This isn't in the script, I'm just saying this. From the moment I watched that first Jack video to now, I've never played a game that could dethrone Undertale, except for Deltarune. But if you asked 8-year-old me why I love this game so much, I honestly wouldn't have been able to give you an answer. But now, as an 18-year-old starting my first year of college, I could probably give you at least 50 answers. Growing up, I went through some rough times, like everybody else. And every time something was giving me trouble, this game was always there for me to play again. For example, around the time I had watched Jack's video, my family had just moved homes, meaning I had to adjust to a new school and a new neighborhood. I lost my old friends and had to make new ones. This game was perfect for 8-year-old me, so perfect that I felt so bad for pirating it, I begged my mother to buy me it on Steam, which was one of the first ever purchases I had made on the platform and ultimately led to me buying more games on Steam. Then, in 6th grade, when my mom got diagnosed with cancer, I went back and played the game again. Then, the week before my 14th birthday, when my mother passed away, I went back and did a true pacifist run. What I'm trying to say is, every time I felt like shit, or something in life was bothering me, I just opened the game and replayed the entire thing from start to finish. Another reason why I love this game so much was because of the attention made to player choice. I'm sure you've all seen that clip of the streamer killing Toriel, realizing his mistake, reloading the save and sparing her, only to be called out by Flowey. Or the phone call you get from Sans after each neutral ending, often explaining the course that the Underground took after you left, which is also entirely based off of what monsters you choose to spare and kill. Or how about the very first real encounter in the game, where choosing to kill the Frogget leads to it not showing up later on. I could go on and on and on about the subtle changes made to the game based off your different actions, but I'm sure you get the point by now. The level of detail Toby put into making your decisions matter, even if it's only an extra line of dialogue or an additional NPC in a hallway, it really makes you feel as though you're in the game. And the game is responding to your choices.
Jingle, dingle, jingle, jangle, it's okay.
This game also taught little me some important lessons. As basic as it sounds, yeah, this game taught me to be nicer to others. If I never played Undertale, I'd probably be extremely bigoted, not even joking. And a lot of people online seem to have had the same experience. As a kid, the idea of two people of the same sex getting together was completely foreign to me. Yet when I saw these two night guys, or Alphys and Undyne, it didn't cross my mind. I saw it and moved on. I literally learned about the existence of non-binary people through the gender-neutral terms used to refer to the protagonist, and a lot of smash bits. Hate is taught, but so is love. So having stuff like that presented to me like it was a normal thing was genuinely a game changer. I've met so many amazing people who just so happen to be a part of the LGBTQ, yet had I never played this game, I probably wouldn't have given them the light of day. And considering recent events, I'm sure that line of thinking is appreciated by a lot of people. Life lessons aside, my main reason for loving this game so much is, of course, the OST. If you went back and rewatched this entire video, you would notice that I haven't mentioned the game's music once. And that's because I wanted to save this for last. Earlier, I said I would replay the game every time I felt like shit. Obviously, that's not entirely possible sometimes, due to other responsibilities. That's where the OST comes in. No matter who you ask, most people, whether they hate or love Undertale, usually can come to agree that, yeah, the OST is pretty good. Undertale is one of the most unique and comforting game OSTs I've ever listened to. While nowadays its music has been a bit overplayed by most content creators,
If a bully entered the back rooms, things would go downhill fast.
it still holds a special place in my heart. Even to this day, every time I hear that one part of the Ruins OST, I remind myself of the almost 2-minute long pee break from Jack's first playthrough of Undertale.
Well, I gotta go pee. I'll be back in a sec. Sorry.
Every time I go back to hear these songs, or I go to play the game, it's all just in a futile attempt to relive what it felt like to be a kid. These songs, and by extension, this entire game, bring me back to a less chaotic part of my life. When there wasn't anything crazy to worry about, where I didn't have to think much about my future, to a time when I was a lot happier. There's a whole bunch of other things I haven't covered, such as the fandom I immersed myself in, primarily on Amino and Discord, how role-playing as God Mode Sans on Roblox Undertale games improved my reading and writing, and how this game introduced me to the idea of making my own games and music, and how its creator, Toby Fox, pretty much inspired me into going to college. So, if Mr. Fox ever watches this video, then from the bottom of my heart, thank you for making my childhood a little bit better. And I promise, you will play my game. Preferably after I develop a good portion of it in your basement. Above all else, Undertale introduced me to the idea of making games as a future career. If you asked any other 8-year-old kid what they wanted to be when they grew up, there was a 99.99% chance they responded with something cool and not lame, like being a doctor, an astronaut, or a firefighter. But for me, no matter what point of my life I was in, my go-to response was always, I want to be a game developer when I grow up. Being able to craft a world of the likes that Toby Fox created was something I desired for myself. To make a game so impactful that it could provide comfort for another frustrated teenager as they made their way through their chaotic, messy adolescence, and to someday have them write their entire college essay about how my game guided them through a confusing part of their life. That would be enough for me.